Metal Cooler. Metal Cooler is the perfect example of the dev team's utter incompetence. Now, before the 7th anniversary, the dev team released this letter here. And they said that they wanted to make sure that each character has distinct characteristics. They mentioned 3 goals. They wanted to dehomogenize abilities, so they wanted more characters to have unique abilities and be known for certain things. Not every character has 10 counts of cover null. Every character has -2 cards on cover change, and they all have this amount of damage, and they all have this amount of sustained damage cut or whatever. That's what they want to do. That's goal number 1. Goal number 2 was to remove comboing forever. Ultra Majin Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and LF Vegeta Blue. Those 3 units could combo you forever. They wanted to remove them. That was one of their goals. Then they wanted to make abilities a lot less complicated. Now, out of these 3 goals since the start of the 7th anniversary, they've only achieved 1.5. Now, 1, the character ability is becoming simpler. Complete tick. A plus grade. Like, comparing this guy's kit to like Goku Black, look at this guy's kit. This guy's kit is like a whole. Look at all this. Just look at this text. Look at the density of this text on this page. That's just 1 ability. Then there's another one. Like, look at this compared to Cooler. It's all simple. It still looks the same amount of length, but it's simple to read. They've lowered the register. They've made it a lot easier to understand what these characters are supposed to do. They've completely achieved that. A+. Now, the combo power thing, they've only half achieved that because there are still characters like Ultra Frieza who can still combo you for a long amount of time. Same thing with this character here, Kefla. When she gets her release gauge, she cannot be stopped. She will combo you. And she doesn't combo for long, actually. She's more focused on doing kind of burst amount of damage, because the more you combo, the less damage she does. But she can combo unstoppably for a good amount of time. But yeah, they've only half achieved this. There are still characters out here who can still combo you for a large amount of time. But it's not as bad as having a full team of characters where you can just cycle through all 3 of them and combo forever. And they've also increased the penalties for longer combos. Now, let's take a look at the focus. The thing that Metal Cooler shows that they've failed to do. Highlighted here in pink. In other words, each character had distinct characteristics. That is their main focus. That is point number 1 here. They want each character to have distinct characteristics. That means every character is not copy and paste. That means that they want to stop what they were doing. Like, basically, before the 7th anniversary, they would just go to a character and see, okay, this person has 150% damage inflicted, 70% sustained damage cut. They would just copy and paste, and then they would change their values a little bit on every single character. Copy and paste, tweak some values here or there. A lot of the kids were just copy and paste, and they wanted to stop doing that, and they wanted to make sure each character had distinct characteristics. Like here, they said, region characters should have abundant ways to restore their health. So that means that the tags and the types that you are should correspond to what is in your abilities. And this is where Cooler fails. Now, there are multiple types in the game. There are defense types, there are melee types, range types, and support types. Now let's go. I think this is pretty self-explanatory. Support types are supposed to be characters who give you buffs, and that's about it. They're just there to to boost the team and lift them up. Now, Majin Ku definitely did that, but he was really toxic. But Krillin does this pretty well. He highlights and he gives a little boost to Ultra Frieza and Ultra Namigoku. This is a good support character. He can give support to them, and that's about it. He does no damage. He does not tank. He just gives them support whilst he's alive, and when he dies, he gives them death buffs. Like this is a really well designed support character. Like he gives them here in his starter ability allies. See, he's buffing his allies. That there is a support type. That is the point and the purpose of a support type. They buff their teammates. They've mostly succeeded in making a good support type here with Krillin. Now let's take a look at ranged types. Now ranged types, obviously they're supposed to use ranged arts, blast arts, ranged blues, and that's supposed to be their main strength. And the only ranged types we've received since since they wanted to implement this new philosophy was Vegeta, and Frieza. Now this Vegeta is decent. He's a solid unit to use, and I think he's decently well designed. I'm not gonna get into him right now because coolers remain focused. Then Evolution Blue Vegeta, horrible character, horrible. Just everything about him is just wrong. There's nothing redeeming about this character at all. I'll make another video about him at some point. Then we have Ultra Frieza, best character in the game. Feel free to argue about that. He is the best character in the game. He does a lot of damage, and most of his damage comes from using blast arts attacks. Like, just look at the difference between his stats. His stats here for strike attack, 249 versus blast, 272. This guy is a blast centered character. Most of his damage comes from his blast attacks and his active gauge. Those are the main draws for this character. He does a lot of blast damage. He has a good active gauge. That's a ranged attack, and he does a lot of damage. He can combo you and he can kill you. He fits exactly what he's supposed to do. He is a damage dealing character. He is the main damage dealer, and he's a ranged type. He does ranged damage. Then we look at melee types. We look at LF Kefla. We look at Super Saiyan Goku. We're looking at Ultra LF UI. We're looking at LF Goku. These are some characters who have come out after the new philosophy. Now, Kaioken Goku, I've already got him pulled up here. I'm gonna get to him at some point. But UI Goku, he was a really good character when he came out, and he's still a solid option right now. Then we look at Kefla. Kefla's main draw is her damage. She does damage, and that's it. She can't tank. She can take maybe 1 or 2 hits, but she's not taking a combo from like Ultra Frieza. She's dying. But she does damage. That is her whole point. She's a damage dealer. She's a melee type. Her strike arts are her draw. She does damage. So that's another example of a good designed character here. She does damage, and that's it. She doesn't do everything like old characters used to do. Like, this Goku does everything. I think he has some. I think he supports. I'm not sure if he does. He does everything. He does damage. He can rush. He has indestructible, so he can tank a hit. He can take a rush. Like, this character just does damage. That's it. She doesn't do some stupid. She doesn't have a comeback or anything. She's just one-dimensional damage. Then we have Ultra Goku. Ultra Goku is just. He isn't actually mainly a damage dealer, but for what he's supposed to do, he's supporting the team. He can still do damage. He's just there to support the team, deal damage, and lock in characters. That's his goal. He doesn't have anything else that makes him like multi-dimensional and makes him good on every single front. This guy, you hit him, he's gonna die. He can tank purely because he has a good amount of damage guard here. He can tank a hit. See, he has 200% damage guard. I need to get some more in this kid later on. He can tank a hit, but if you get Kaioken Goku in there, he's gonna shred through him and destroy him. Frieza can shred through him and destroy him at some point. He does damage, and he helps his team out with KO guard. That's his role. He's a little bit overkill because of KO guard. That's a bit of a support kind of thing, but he's not like three-dimensional ways. Also, just a great tank. You can kill this character. Now we look at defense types, and this is where the game has always failed. Well, 99% of the time, they just don't get this right. Now, defense types are supposed to take hits, and they're just meant to sponge damage. They sponge damage. That is their only purpose as a strictly defense type. Now, of course, we'd love for them to also deal damage too, but as a defense type, their main purpose is to sponge damage. And that is where most of them fail. We have a character here. From the release of the 7th anniversary, how many defense types have we got him? 1 Metal Cooler. And then this guy got a platinum. Now, this guy was actually good with his platinum equipment. Like, he could tank a hit. And he could tank a hit. He could actually he could deal okay damage. He could really tank a hit. You build this guy right. This guy Kefla and Namegoku, yellow green. That team was basically unkillable, and then Kefla would do all the damage. So on that team, there are three roles being exercised. We have this guy over here tanking. We have Kefla doing only damage, and then we have Ultra Namegoku, who is providing the KO guard and protecting, and then he's just a connector character. He provides KO guard, and he can also come in and still do damage. See, those three characters working together, each character has their role on their team. No one character can do it all. That is what they say they wanted to do here. They wanted to dehomogenize all the abilities, and they wanted people to serve specific roles. Now, this guy served his role. Kefla served her role. This guy doesn't. So what are the main reasons why this Cooler is not is a subpar defense unit? Why does he not fulfill his role? Let's first start off with the main change that they made to the game. Recently, they changed from sustained damage cut and damage inflicted to just damage and damage guard. I'm going to zoom it in here a lot. So we have 280% damage and 125% damage guard. Now let me open up these other characters here. Now let's look at Kefla. Kefla came out right before Metal Cooler, a month or so before. What do her stats look like as a melee type, as an offense centered unit? She has 270% damage, okay, and then she has 180% damage guard. But wait, let's take a look at another character who came out recently. Let's take a look at some other recent characters and compare their numbers, right? So we're not gonna look at the ultras just yet, because ultras are treated as more valuable characters. They are given a lot more preference in terms of power creep. We have UI Goku here, 280% damage guard, damage, and then 175% damage guard. So we look at this, we look at Kefla. What do we notice? Kefla is slightly lower damage, but slightly higher damage, but that doesn't really mean anything. It's like 5%. That's not too much of a difference. But we notice that damage guard is around 170-ish%, right? Then we take a look at Kaioken Goku. He comes in with 180% damage guard. So we're looking at 180% damage guard. We look at Transforming Vegeta, 180% damage guard. Let's look at the Reviving Vegeta. He gets 170% damage guard. So 170 to 180% damage guard is around the normal, and this Vegeta's a range type. He has a revive, which is his only real defense at all. But you can shred through this guy pretty easily. He's meant to be a combo and deal damage. That's his purpose, that's how he was built. And he has 170% damage guard. So all these characters who have come out recently have around about 170 to 180% damage guard. And none of them have been defense types. They've all been focused on dealing damage or helping out their teams. Then we look at Metal Cooler, who is meant to be a defense type. And what does he start off with? He starts off with 125% damage guard. That is just subpar. There is no universe where 125% damage guard is something a defense unit should even dream of having. Now, of course, the dev team would probably make this argument about why they did this. They would say Cooler has 2 comebacks, so he has 3 lives. Therefore, he should have lower damage guard. He should be a bit more squishy, so that other people can get through the first live, so that it makes it a lot easier to fight this character. However, there's one problem with this. Let's see, let's go to the ability here where it talks about his comeback. When health reaches 0 2 times, he will come back 100% health, then he will also gain 30% damage guard. Now that means on his 3rd life, when he's done his comeback twice, he will have 185% damage guard. That sounds like it's on the same level as other characters, but that's the issue. Why does this character in his 3rd life have the same amount of damage, have the same amount of bulk as characters who are built to mainly be offensive? Why is it that this character only his maximum damage guard is 185? That's maximum just base without being buffed by his gauge. And then we have characters here like Ultra Frieza. Let me actually pull up Namigoku here. I'll go to Ultra Frieza's page. Ultra Frieza starts with 200% damage guard. Namigoku starts with 200% damage guard. Why is that? They're ultras, so they're supposed to be a bit more valuable and specialized than the Sparkings, right? So they get a bit more preference and treatment. But why is it that this character's maximum, just a base maximum defensive bulk, is 185% damage guard? And then of course, when his gauge becomes full, he gains an extra 30%, but that's only for 15 counts. So his maximum, let's say Cooler's getting comboed. His maximum damage guard in his third life, whilst his gauge is full for 15 counts, is 215. Just think, 215% damage guard. That's only 15% higher than these units here, Namigoku and Frieza. Now, mind you, Namigoku and Frieza get support from Krillin, which gives them an extra 20%, if I'm not wrong, 20 or 10%. So that already puts them on the same level, like bulk-wise, as Cooler. In his third life, with his gauge full, you've already lost 2 of his lives, and his gauge is full. He's getting comboed, and these characters have the exact same amount of damage guard as he does. How on earth does that make sense? Like, the whole way that they're executing their philosophy is flawed and just incompetent. This is a defense character. Look at his stats. His strike attack is 249. His blast attack is 239. This guy can do 0 damage. He does no damage. Like, if you look at his number here, you go, oh, 280% damage? That's not bad at all, right? He does no damage. Look at these stats. These stats, like, he's a defense type, right? So you think maybe, okay, he can have lower offensive stats, right? But he just has to tank well. That's his only purpose. He doesn't do that. This character has 2 revives, but he can't tank. His maximum bulk potential is the same as these characters, that these characters get by default. How does this make sense? This doesn't make any sense. Then let's go to point 2 that I have about this character that just makes him subpar. What are they thinking with this guy's green card? Like, generally, what is the point of this character's green card? As a defense type, let's say you're getting comboed, the other person drops a combo, and you can't switch out yet, but you have no vanish, and you need to find a way to stay on the battlefield and stall until you can swap out. This green card doesn't help you with that. This green card here, so here are the effects. On activation, you draw a full hand and you get key. Cool. This guy's a defense type. He can combo you and he'll do 0 damage. So why is that there? Then we have on nullification. This is a nullification green. So he'll absorb the attack, and that's it. He doesn't counter. He just absorbs the attack. He'll get 10% health. Okay. He'll get full vanish only 2 times. He'll seal the enemy's strike arts, so you can tackle, you can blast without worrying about being attacked. Then he'll cancel their buffs and attribute upgrades, and he'll prevent all cover changes. Now, do you see an issue here? Issue number 1. Why does he get cover null? This character, and why does he get cards? This character does no damage. His whole purpose is to sponge damage. So why on earth does he gain a full hand and cover null when he does no damage? If you can use his green, you can tackle, you can get priority, you can attack, and guess what? Your combo does donuts. 0 damage. They swap into Namigoku, you do no damage. They could swap into Frieza, you do no damage. Why on earth is this green designed so poorly? What is this? How is this supposed to how is this supposed to lean into his distinct characteristic of being a tank? You know what this should do? If anything, this green card here, I'd rate if I'd just remove the fact that it counters. I would not do this. Like, that it nullifies. I would have it be a counter that once you counter, he'll lower his sub counts and he can get the hell out of there. Or if they're still gonna keep it this exact same way, first of all, remove the opponent's vanish. If you want to keep it the exact same way it is now, then the one change you need to make is to remove the opponent's vanish. If you don't do that, this is worthless. Like this whole sealing arts cards or whatever, this is worthless. This does nothing. You could tackle, they could just dodge, and whoops, what are you gonna do now? Now you have to do a coin flip on whether or not they're gonna sidestep or you're just gonna go right away. But no, it's fine. Just proactively try and gain priority, right? That's the goal. This doesn't gain you anything. You've done nothing. You've gained your vanish back. You stop them from attacking you with a strike or a blue. And even if you get priority back, you do no damage. And you only heal 10%. This is a defense character. His whole point should be bulk, bulk, bulk. You hit him, he takes the damage, he sponges it, and if I'm being honest here, he should heal some back. That should be the main goal. He bulks, 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 and then he heals. Similar to how this Kaioken Goku works. This Kaioken Goku, his gauge, this character's gauge is really well designed. Where every single time this gauge gets triggered, he will heal. He will heal. He's constantly healing. Look, he heals 15% from this gauge. This character heals, heals, heals. He takes hits and he will heal. He takes hits, then he will heal. This character is a melee type. He's a melee type. So tell me, why is this melee type character having a defense type gauge that can tank better than this cooler? So this cooler's green card does nothing for him defensively. It like healing him 10%. That's really not anything at all. Characters have that on their regular greens. Like this is a defense type. Why doesn't he gain more damage? Why don't we just give him like a plus 20% damage guard here, or something better for a defense character? Like heal him like 20 or 30%. Like there's no need to hold back here because this character's whole goal is to sponge damage. This is just subpar. Then my next point here. This character does no damage. Now, I know I just went over how they didn't want every single character to do everything. In this game, you don't win unless you do damage. There is no reason for this defense character to have these abysmal stats. Like, at least give him okay. These are abysmal. Like, if you're going to completely lean into defense, they don't even do that right. This is completely abysmal stats. This character can do no damage, and his one main like damage dealing method is whenever his gauge is full, he will just draw. Like here, whenever his gauge is full, he will unlock a certain ability, and it's over here. When on strike blast arts hits with a full unique gauge, this ability here, when his gauge is full and he hits you, he'll draw a blue. Now this blue card here should be his main form of damage. I don't care if he's a defense type. He should have at least 1 or 2 ways to deal damage. Like having a completely one-dimensional character in only one way, he can only take damage and do nothing else, that's fine. They can't do that. They don't have to design that. So at least, why didn't they make this better? Why is this so unrewarding? Like landing this blue card here. Let's take a look at its effects, right? So the blue card here, when the unique gauge is full, he gets damage guard penetration 30%, and he gets nullify element disadvantages. Now, first of all, this going type Nutrier, why is this limited? He's a purple character in a meta where yellows are everywhere. The Namek Goku is so strong, and this character cannot penetrate through Namek Goku. I don't care if he's a defense type. If his gauge is full, you should be rewarded. There should be some way for you to retaliate. So this being limited to 3 times is just subpar. But even if this was still limited to 3 times, why is this cancelable? Why are these 2 effects cancelable? Just every single character cancels your buffs and attribute upgrades whenever you do a blue or a big attack. So tell me, why is the one thing this character does is draw a blue when his gauge is full? And that does nothing. Because this will get cancelled. This will get cancelled. Well, sometimes it will, sometimes it won't. If you're going against Kaioken Goku, cancels your buffs whenever you use a blue the first time. This will get cancelled. But for sure, this will get cancelled. And then he removes Dragon Balls, which is actually a pretty good effect. But what is this? Why is this cancelable? Why can we just cancel these effects and then your blue does no damage? When is this character ever supposed to deal damage in some way? Like they showed us that they want this character to deal damage with this horrible unique ability, which is my next point. This horrible unique ability does nothing. Look at this. When hit by enemy arts, damage plus 20%, 20 counts. What is this for? You're tanking a combo, right? You're taking a combo with Aleph Cooler, and they do, let's say, 10 hits against you. So you get like close to like 200% extra damage, right? They stop their combo. Oh, whoops, I forgot. You don't survive 10 hits with this character. He has a 125% damage guard. You don't survive 10 hits with this guy. This is his only way of building damage. Like they're clearly saying here, yes, we want you to have a way to retaliate after tanking so much. So why on earth is it built like this? This is poor. And then it only lasts for 20 counts. Like why not have this build up on top of his already 280% damage? This is nothing. Like combined with his horrible stats, this does nothing. He does no damage at all. And he can't even tank. What is this character? Not to mention his gauge is just horrible. His gauge is built really badly. Like generally, this unique gauge is I don't know how this gauge is worse than a melee type Kaioken Goku's gauge. This character's gauge is better than a defense type's gauge. Just think about that. Like this character with his 100% charge rate, it takes 3 cards for his gauge to fill. It automatically resets. It destroys your enemy cards. Like look at these effects here. Let's compare the effects of the unique gauges here. When unique gauge becomes full, health plus 15%, damage guard. He gets type disadvantage. He nullifies any type disadvantages. He supports his allies. He minuses sub counts, and he destroys 2 enemy cards. Now let's take this here and let's compare this to Cooler. Over here, Cooler, he gains 15% health. Okay, that's the same amount of health here. He gains 30 ki. I don't know why he does this. Why does he gain ki? He doesn't. He's taking hits. He doesn't need to gain ki. There's no reason to gain 30 ki. Then he gets an extra 30% damage, uncancelable for 15 counts. Okay, Kaioken Goku doesn't do that, but that's because Kaioken Goku, when he comes in, he already has like 400% damage. Then we have a 20% damage guard. That's the same as Kaioken Goku's here. Then we have sub counts on switch. He lowers his own sub counts when he switches out. Why? This character is supposed to be the one taking hits. Why are we trying to now? Do they expect you to get his gauge full, then swap him out? He's supposed to sponge hits. Why does he do this? He's supposed to sponge hits. Do they want you to bring him in quicker next time around so you can tank better? Like you can bring him in again so that he can keep tanking? This effect is good. It's just not. It doesn't fit here. This should just be like a default ability that he has as a defense type. You can switch into him more often and get him to tank combos. He cancels attribute downgrades. Okay, and then increases cards costs by 15. Okay, this guy destroys 2 enemy cards. Like comparing increasing their arts cost and canceling attribute downgrades, this isn't much. This doesn't do anything really. This whole part of the kit here doesn't really do 15 arts cost. You can feel it, but like what is this gonna do in the long run? You just swap characters and then boom. What are you gonna do? The effect is gone now because this doesn't apply to all enemies. It just applies to the current enemy on the battlefield, as far as I know. So this only affects on the enemy that you're fighting with right now. So you can just swap out, and then this does nothing. And then damage guard for 10 counts for but plus 20%. This guy's 125% damage guard. 20% is not gonna help him tank any better. This gauge is just. And this gauge takes multiple hits to fill up. Like they do give you a way to proactively charge it by using arts cards, but why would you want to even use arts cards with this character? It's a waste of an arts card. He does no damage. Like there's just no reason. Like maybe that's why they gave him plus ki, because you can proactively charge the card. So maybe they want you to proactively use your cards to charge the gauge. But then this is a sustained damage type. You're not supposed to be able to just proactively fill it up just because you want to. Like Kaioken Goku has no way to proactively fill his gauge. He has to get hit to do it. But they're the same type, but they have different ways to fill. This doesn't make any sense. I don't get why they did this at all. This should be exactly. They should, like, genuinely, they don't want to do this, but they should have just went here, copy and paste, and then they should, instead of doing this whole mechanic here, just give him the 100% damage. Give him the 100% unique gauge rate, and then have it so that every single time he comes back, this unique gauge rate drops. So it'll drop down to 50, and then just like Kaioken Goku on the 5th sub end, Kaioken Goku doesn't get plus any rate. So why don't they just have it like this for Cooler? he has 100% damage, 100% unique gauge charge rate. So he'll take 3 hits, his gauge will become full. And then once he's in his next comeback, it'll be he'll take 4 hits and it'll become full. This would have been a better way to scaffold into that whole. This would have been better synergy with the whole part about him gaining more damage guard whenever he comes back. Because now he'll gain more damage guard whenever he does his comeback, right? He'll gain more damage guard, and his gauge will take more cards to fill, but he'll be tanking better. Do you already see how this design is way better than what they did here? I don't understand why they did this. And these having 2 comebacks is not so valuable that we need to completely just disregard the character design, and we could just give him really horrible stats, give him like really subpar defensive abilities that don't even his defensive bulk doesn't match up with this character. This character can tank better than Cooler. I will bet everything I have on it. This character tanks better than Cooler. This Kaioken Goku, in both pre-transformed and post-transformation, he tanks better than Kaioken Goku. Both ways. He tanks better than Cooler. Both ways. Transformed or not transformed. And he's a melee type. Just... This is just incompetence. This is utter incompetence. Honestly, I don't know what they're doing, what the dev team has in mind with this character. I don't understand that. Was their thought process, we want to make a balanced defense character who has 2 comebacks, but we want to make it so that people can still punch through it, so that it's not like a horrible mechanic where you just cannot defeat him at all. Because in the current meta, this guy does not have this guy's place is really odd. Because the current meta, every single match, you will go to timer. If you're playing a good player, like if you're playing the top 10k, you will go to timer. You will 90% of the time you are going to timer unless the other player is just bad. And this guy, he just makes that problem worse. He has 3 lives that you have to punch through, but with his low damage guard value, it's not super difficult to just annihilate this guy. But what role does he fill? He is supposed to be the one you swap into sponge hits, but he just can't do that. This character has no place. This character's distinct characteristics. Is he distinct? No. He's just subpar. He just does not fulfill the role he's supposed to fulfill. He's a tank. He does no damage at all. Okay, cool. So can he tank? No. You can punch through him pretty quickly, and then even though he has 3 lives, most of the time the match is going to timer. So guess what? This Cooler will take a lot of damage. Everyone's just gonna rush. It doesn't matter if you have Cooler on and he still has 2 more comebacks. You're just gonna rush. You can rush this Cooler. You will do 10 million damage on your rush. And wow, guess what? When the timer comes to an end, it's the person who does more damage wins. So guess what? That Cooler who took that 10 million rush. You think, oh my word, yes, Cooler has 3 lives that can just swap in. He gets rushed, he takes 10 million damage, and you lose. Because guess what? You take more damage, you lose. That's just how it is. This guy cannot tank, he's just a liability. You swap into him, he gets rushed, you lose. Namekoku comes in, Namekoku locks him in, rush, you lose immediately. You have no chance of covering that damage. Even if you have Ultra Frieza, I'm sorry, you're not gonna make up for a 12 million, 20 million rush. It's not gonna happen. You lose. This character is just a complete liability. They need to buff him. That is my that's my last final thoughts on this guy. They need to just buff him. The ways that they could buff him. First of all, this is just trash. Get rid of this. I don't know what you were thinking with this, because you think he has 3 lives, so he needs to tank. He should be more squishy. No. You could just get rid of his comeback and just give him 250% damage guard. He's a defense type. He should have higher damage guard than all the other characters in the game. He should just start with 180, and then once he's in his 3rd life, he'll have 240. That is not an issue at all. Defense types should always have higher damage guard than the rest of the game. That is just a no-brainer. In fact, he should start with 200. I don't understand why this character doesn't start with more damage guard than every other character in the game. I don't care if he has 3 lives. Remove this whole gaining of damage guard as he dies, and just give him Kaioken's gauge. Remove this whole damaging guard remove this gaining damage guard when he dies, and then just give him 240% damage guard. It's done. Problem solved. He has Kaioken's gauge with 100% charge rate. Give him the 180 damage guard. Boom. Fine. Like, what's the issue? I don't understand why they had to gimp him so much defensively, because I think we need to balance his defense with his 3 lives. Like, just don't even give him the 3 life mechanic then. Just remove it and just give him like 240% damage guard, because this mechanic is a liability in the time account meta. All you do, you get rushed. You can get rushed 2 times by Namek Goku and you just lose. You can get rushed once by Namek Goku and you lose. This is just a pure liability. He's built to be a liability. They're just assuming that you can win the game when you just can't. Every character they've released has made it so that you can't win the game. Namek, this guy tanks. You can punch through him now. Then we have this guy over here who basically makes it impossible to beat the other team. Because guess what? You have to punch through a whole character. You have to punch through one character. You have to kill him. That character comes back. Namek Goku. Then now there's still 3 characters. You've wasted all that effort to kill 1 character, and now you still have to kill 3 more. What are you gonna do here? There's no reason that we need this character to have 3 lives in this timer count meta when this guy exists, and this guy can just rush him, and then boom, we win. Guess what? We're gonna stall till timer, because you can use this character every single match. I guarantee you will see this character, you will see Final Form Frieza, and you will see some other 3rd character. Most of the time it's this Goku here. Guess what? You're not killing that team. They swap out from this guy, they swap to this guy, they swap back to Namek Goku. Swap. Before you can kill any of these characters, they swap out. You will go to timer, and you will need to win on damage. And this character here, he's completely counter to that. He is a pure liability.